Imagine waking up one day with more money than entire governments. Not from Silicon Valley tech startups, not from Wall Street hedge funds, but from drug empires, black market deals, and underground crime syndicates. Yes, I'm talking about the richest criminals in history, men and women who built illegal empires so massive they rivaled Fortune 500 companies. But here's the twist. With every fortune came fear, betrayal, manhunts, and shocking downfalls. So today, we dive deep into the lives of the richest criminals of all time. From Pablo Escobar, the king of cocaine, to El Chapo, to shadowy figures you may have never heard of, but whose wealth and influence changed the world in ways you can't imagine. This isn't just about money, it's about power, greed, and how far people are willing to go to control it. 1. Pablo Escobar, the king of cocaine. Let's start with the legendary Pablo Escobar. Born in Colombia, Escobar rose from petty theft to becoming the head of the Medellin cartel, one of the most powerful drug trafficking organizations in history. At the peak of his empire in the 1980s, Escobar was making an estimated $420 million a week. His net worth? A staggering $30 billion. To put that in perspective, that's more than the GDP of some countries back then. Escobar smuggled over 80% of the cocaine that entered the United States, making him one of the most powerful and most wanted men on earth. But it wasn't just about money. Escobar built schools, hospitals, and even entire neighborhoods in Colombia. To the poor, he was a Robin Hood figure. To the government, he was a terrorist mastermind. And his ruthlessness? Legendary. He once said, "Plata o plomo," silver or lead, meaning take the bribe or take the bullet. Eventually, Escobar was hunted down in 1993 and killed on a rooftop in Medellin. But his story remains one of the most extreme examples of wealth built from crime. Dosa, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the Tunnel King. Next, let's move to Joaquin Guzman, better known as El Chapo. The head of the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico, El Chapo became famous not only for his billions, but also for his daring prison escapes. He built tunnels so sophisticated that some had ventilation, lighting, and even motorbikes inside them. At his peak, El Chapo's cartel controlled much of the drug trade into the US, and his fortune was estimated at $12 to $14 billion. What's wild is how he managed to stay ahead of law enforcement for so long, through bribes, intimidation, and sheer cunning. But no empire lasts forever. In 2019, El Chapo was extradited to the US and sentenced to life in prison. Today, he sits in the most secure federal prison in America. His story shows how criminal wealth comes with paranoia, constant betrayal, and eventually, collapse. 3. Meyer Lansky, the mob's accountant. Now let's shift gears from drugs to organized crime in America. Meyer Lansky, also known as the mob's accountant, wasn't a violent gangster like Escobar or El Chapo. Instead, he was the financial genius behind the Mafia's money laundering and casino empires. Lansky helped build the Las Vegas casino industry, secretly channeling mob money into legitimate businesses. At one point, he controlled billions in assets, though his official net worth was estimated around $300 million. What's fascinating about Lansky is how he stayed mostly under the radar. While other mobsters were flashy, Lansky was quiet, calculated, and strategic. In many ways, he represents how some of the richest criminals weren't always the most violent, they were the smartest. 4. Dawood Ibrahim, India's most wanted. From the US, let's move to India's underworld. Dawood Ibrahim is perhaps the most wanted man in South Asia. He is believed to have founded the D Company crime syndicate, involved in drug trafficking, extortion, and terrorism. His estimated net worth, around $6 to $7 billion. He's also suspected of having ties with global terrorist organizations. Dawood has been on the run for decades, reportedly hiding in Pakistan, but still exerts influence over global criminal networks. What makes his story chilling is how his empire mixes organized crime with political terrorism. Femte Frank Lucas, Densane, American Gangster. Ever watched American Gangster starring Denzel Washington? That movie was based on Frank Lucas. Lucas was a Harlem drug lord in the 1960s and 70s. His unique strategy? Cutting out the middleman and smuggling heroin directly from Southeast Asia. At his peak, Lucas claimed he was making $1 million a day. He became a symbol of both ambition and destruction, rising from poverty to riches, but at the cost of spreading addiction through entire communities. Eventually, he was caught and turned into an informant, leading to one of the biggest crackdowns on drug networks in New York City. 6. Griselda Blanco, the cocaine godmother. Crime isn't just a man's world. Meet Griselda Blanco, also known as the Black Widow or the cocaine godmother. She was one of the most ruthless figures in the Colombian cocaine trade. Her estimated fortune? Over $2 billion. She was infamous for her brutal tactics, ordering countless assassinations. Blanco controlled the Miami drug scene in the 70s and 80s, but her reign ended when she was arrested and later deported to Colombia, where she was eventually assassinated. Her story is a reminder that the world of crime doesn't discriminate. Ambition and greed fuel both men and women. 7. Carlos Lader, the drug aviator. Another figure worth mentioning is Carlos Lader, a Colombian drug lord and co-founder of the Medellin cartel. What made him unique was his use of Norman's Cay, a small island in the Bahamas, as a private smuggling hub for cocaine into the US. His fortune once stood at billions, though he lost much of it after being captured and extradited to the US. Lader represents the innovation of criminal enterprises, using aviation and geography in ways authorities never expected. 8. Modern-day cyber criminals. Now, let's fast forward to the 21st century. Not all of today's richest criminals are drug lords or mob bosses. Some are hackers and cyber criminals who've stolen billions through digital means. Groups like Lazarus Group, believed to be linked to North Korea, have hacked banks and even cryptocurrency exchanges, stealing over $1 billion. Darknet marketplaces like Silk Road, founded by Ross Ulbricht, generated hundreds of millions in illegal sales. These modern criminals show how the battlefield of crime has shifted from streets to cyberspace. 9. The hidden billionaires of crime. While names like Escobar and El Chapo dominate headlines, many of the world's richest criminals remain hidden in the shadows. These include arms dealers, human traffickers, and corrupt politicians who funnel billions through offshore accounts and shell companies. Unlike flamboyant cartel bosses, these figures keep a low profile, blending into elite circles and avoiding media attention. Experts suggest that some of these underground billionaires may rival or even surpass the fortunes of famous drug lords. Their ability to stay invisible reminds us that the most dangerous criminals aren't always the loudest. They're often the ones you never hear about. 10th Lessons and Reflection. When we look at these stories, one thing stands out. Crime can create unimaginable wealth, but it always comes with a cost. From Escobar dying on a rooftop, to El Chapo spending the rest of his life in prison, to cyber criminals being hunted down by international agencies, the pattern is clear: fast money, faster downfall. And yet, society remains fascinated by these figures. Movies, documentaries, and TV shows glamorize their stories because they reflect something deep in human nature: our obsession with power, control, and risk. So, when we talk about the richest criminals of all time, we're not just listing numbers on a balance sheet. We're exploring the dark side of human ambition. These men and women were able to rival CEOs, presidents, and entire governments, not through innovation or service, but through fear, blood, and corruption. But here's the ultimate truth: crime may make you rich, but it never makes you free. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of the world's wealthiest criminals, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more mind-blowing stories from history, crime, and beyond.